Hi, this is Steve. Today I'm going to talk to you about Gates of the Arctic National Park. First, a few facts about the national park. It's almost 8.5 million acres of land. That's about 4 times the size of Yellowstone. So the first problem is, how do I see something of that size that has no roads? Well, I decided to go on a paddling trip down the Noatak River with guides. So the next question is, how do you get there? Well, we started our trip to Fairbanks. We ended up at the small plane terminal trying to get a flight to Bettles. After weighing us and all of our gear, we got on a small plane and flew about an hour up to Bettles, Alaska. Population 23. So we wandered around town for a little bit. There's a lodge and there's a little restaurant and a little store. So after a while, planes became available. We got driven in a rickety old truck up to a small pond that the seaplanes were landing and taking off from. It took 3 small planes to take 10 people and our gear all the way up to Lake Pingo in Gates of the Arctic National Park. The gear had to include everything that we were going to use during the week. Once we all arrived at Lake Pingo, the gear had to be transported over to the Noatak River, which was probably about a quarter of a mile away. So we carried all the gear over to our campsite on the Noatak River. We went about 80 miles down the Noatak River until we hit into the Noatak Preserve. Our camping spots were right along the Noatak River, and although we saw lots of bones and animal tracks, we had no real trouble with animals. However, we did take bear spray with us whenever we went outside of the camp, including to the bathroom. One of the typical chores for the day was collecting water. We had a bag that had a filter built in that we collected water in from a nearby river or stream. Once the water had been collected, it was hung up on a tree so that everybody could fill their water bottles and use it for cooking. As we were paddling down the Noatak River, we come around the bend and suddenly see an animal on the side that looks like a muskox. Several people pull out their binoculars, and once we determine that it is a muskox, we madly paddle into shore to try and get some pictures of it. We pull up onto a gravel bar, and as soon as we do, we jump out, get our cameras out, and we take pictures as the thing runs away from us and up the hillside. After 3 days of paddling, we took a break day and decided to go hiking. After consulting the map, we decided to climb up a nearby hillside that we thought would have a good view. The hike started off pretty easy, as we were hiking on relatively flat ground and the footing was good. But as we climbed the hillsides, it became steeper, and we started climbing on a type of grass called tussocks. Tussocks are clumps of grass that are loosely attached to the underlying soil, and in this case they were surrounded by water in them, making the footing extremely hazardous. When you stepped on the tussock, it would move on you, and if your foot slipped off, it would slip off into water. We were happy to get through the hike with no twisted ankles or knees. Once we got to the top, we enjoyed the view, relaxed a little bit, and took a few pictures before headed back down. On the way down, got to see a rainbow to cap off a good day. The trip ended in the Noatak National Preserve at a place called the Otter Bar. It was so named because an otter airplane could land on the landing strip there. Shortly before arriving at the Otter Bar, we'd seen a pack of wolves. We had evidence that a pack of wolves was nearby every morning as we heard howling. The very last morning that we were there, we thought they were really close, and everybody popped out of their tent in the morning to see if the wolves were there. We didn't see them, but after a little bit of searching, we found wolf tracks within about 50 feet of our food. We also saw evidence that something had been killed, a caribou, nearby, and we don't know if it was wolves or not. Finally, after 2 days of delay, in the afternoon, the plane came and picked us up. However, it never took us to what was supposed to be the second leg of our trip, was the Kobuk sand dunes. We later had to get a separate charter flight to go back to Kobuk sand dunes so that we could fulfill our national park. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. Stay tuned for more.